So let me ask you a question. When's the last time did intimacy actually feel fresh or brand new to you? For most couples, we can obviously fall into these predictable routines, techniques, same processes, same moves, but it doesn't have to be this way. So what if I told you there's a secret? And it's not a new position, and it's not a new toy, but it's something different. Well, what is that? It's listening together. And I'm going to unpack this whole concept on the other side. Hi, I'm Scott Schwartley, and I'm the founder of Coel, a guided intimacy app for couples. And today I want to talk specifically about the idea of listening together, but more so in this realm of listening together so that your sex life can actually start to feel new again. So let me explain what I mean by this. So if you think about our brains love novelty. And what is the core of novelty? Kind of what exists there? It's desire. And desire thrives with the unknown. It thrives with mystery. In fact, if you think about your best sex memories, right? They probably were more spontaneous, and there was probably a lot of unknown and mystery. Maybe it was the newness of the relationship. Maybe it was being on vacation. But that idea of the unknown, that's where desire really likes to live, and that's where novelty exists. And that's what we love, and that's what we want to try to create as much as possible. So obviously, as busy humans, whether you're married, you have kids, the stresses of life force us into these sort of patterns of routine and predictability. And when you have predictability and routine and you're following the same things over and over again, you're doing the same things, desire is going to diminish, and there's not going to be novelty. And that's where you really run into some stumbling blocks. And so today I want to talk about a solution to all of this, where you can sort of fast track your way into novelty. Because again, if you can get to novelty, again, that's where desire and all those sort of great feelings live. So let me explain exactly what I mean by all this. So where I'm going with this is this idea of the power of shared listening. In other words, I have an app called Coel, which is a guided intimacy app for couples. What I always love and suggest is the idea of using guided intimacy to get you to a place of novelty. So by doing this, when you and your partner decide to listen together, an amazing shift begins to happen. Number one, you stop overthinking. You're not obsessed about, am I doing the right thing? Does this feel good to the, to your partner? You don't need to overthink. You just listen and you follow along. Number two, you don't need to anticipate anymore. So maybe you're doing something like, okay, I'm going to do this for 10 more seconds, and I'm going to move on to this other area, or I'm going to do this for 15 or 20 seconds, and I'm going to go try something else. You don't need to anticipate what is going to happen next, because again, you're just listening and following the instructions. And number three, which is one of the most beautiful things about it, is that you begin to discover your partner all over again. So if our goal here is desire and novelty, by listening to a guided intimacy session, you're actually allowing yourself and your partner to just be in the moment, to be present, and learn something new about each other, try new experiences, be exposed to new things that normally wouldn't have been part of your playbook. So it's like taking a detour on a road that you've been down 100 times, where everything just feels fresh and new and different, and that's completely magical. So the big question here is, well, why does it work so well? Well, I've kind of already highlighted a few things. You don't have to overthink, you don't have to anticipate. It brings you and your partner closer together. You get to discover each other. But there's even some additional reasons of why guided intimacy and just the idea of listening together works so well. So number one is it puts you in the present moment. So instead of thinking ahead, you're both in the same moment, following the same rhythm. And number two, it adds surprise. So you don't know what's coming next, which makes even familiar touches feel kind of like it's brand new. And then number three, it bonds you. So sharing the same voice and listening to that narration with the same prompts, you're creating a sense of we're in this together. And so that's the real magical part of listening together and choosing to listen together. So as I mentioned earlier, this isn't about a new position. It's not about introducing a new toy into the bedroom. It's not about implementing something that you read on Reddit or some online forum. It's simply listening to a guided intimacy session and doing it together. And by doing that, again, you're fast tracking yourself into this world of novelty. So if you're wondering what this is all about, guided intimacy, I'm following along with you, but I don't quite have all the dots connected here. What I want to do for you now is actually share an example. So this is an excerpt from one of the Coel guided intimacy sessions. This one's called Melt into the Moment. I'll play maybe 30 seconds or 45 seconds for you, but it'll give you a good idea of how you can actually listen to a narrator, and by dialing into that, it can guide you through a really magical and an intimate experience.
Welcome to Melt into the Moment. This is a slow surrender, a guided way to ease out of your mind and into your body, into each other. Let's begin. Take a moment.
So hopefully at this point you can understand sort of the beauty in what guided intimacy actually provides. And I've met a lot of couples who had maybe a fine relationship prior to doing guided intimacy, and then once they started it, they felt like they were dating all over again. And again, that's where the novelty comes into play. And if that can happen, if that can sort of revive your marriage, revive your relationship, then again, that's the beauty of listening together. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me in this episode as we talked about how listening together can really help your sex life feel fresh and brand new again, and hopefully you're kind of getting that vibe. This is a new channel, so obviously I would love for you to subscribe and like. That obviously helps with the YouTube algorithm. My goal, again, moving forward is to continue doing more videos just like this one, and also getting into the science of what guided intimacy is all about. So with all that said, I want to leave you with this one comment or one thought. Remember, intimacy isn't automatic, it's guided.